Uh, Jack, my favorite part of Fellowship of the Ring is when I believe it's Aragon kicks that helmet. You know that he actually broke his foot in real life, the actor did.
Yeah, wrong movie.
Fuck. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the episode of the Capcom Podcast. I'm Cameron.
And I am the wonderful Mr. Spank.
And I don't know the last time it was just the two of us.
I know we got a good thing going here. We trimmed some of the fat, and now we're streamlined for success.
We trimmed some of the fat so that we didn't have to trim the movie that we're watching today. I think that's the greatest takeaway.
Right. We broke away from the Fellowship so that we could, start our own journey to Mount Doom. We got rid of the dead weight.
Now here's the question: are we okay with considering Justin and Anthony dead weight?
So who's Justin and who's Anthony? Because nobody really wants to be Boromir, but unfortunately, that may be Anthony. Justin can be Legolas.
Yeah, Justin can be Legolas. Yeah, I think Anthony's Boromir. I can see him say "One does not simply." It's another
right? Can't you
meme.
see that? I can
he's like "One does not simply," just not join the podcast. Even though I think, I think that's funny. If you haven't guessed already, or if you didn't read the title, today is Fellowship of the Ring. I can't. That's perfect. That's perfect. Jack, I've seen this movie. This is now my second time seeing Fellowship of the Ring. Jack, you're more well versed in this film and in the Lord of the Rings world. So maybe why don't you take over Legolas's role of explaining what the movie's about?
Okay. What is this movie about? Man, what a loaded question. At its core, it's a movie about good triumphing over evil. In practice, it's a story of, redemption because of what, Frodo kind of almost gets to redeem Bilbo in doing maybe what he should have done. But it's a story about a group of people who are tasked with taking this ring, this magical ring, which grants powers to the user, and destroying it for the good of all of Middle Earth. And it's a story about different types of people coming together, putting aside their differences for a common goal. And it's based on J.R.R. Tolkien's series of books. And there's a lot of folk out there who say it's the greatest trilogy of all time. Is it? I don't know. We'll get into it.
That we shall. Ever since I've been introduced to Lord of the Rings, I've loved it. This is a great film. I
saw this movie in theaters.
That just puts you in the age bracket. I wasn't sentient enough yet to see this in theaters. I truly thoroughly enjoy this film, and I mean that in the most highest regard. Because I don't think it's just for me of just like, oh, I love this movie, just and then move on. I think it's a movie that I savor just every single moment of it. This is one of those movies where I don't have any notes.
It's tough. It's tough. I actually, we'll get into that later, but yeah, I like nitpicking it is really hard, and there's just so many different things to like about it. First and foremost, the cast is insane.
Oh yeah.
And it's truly kind of like an ensemble where the screen time's split pretty well. You're following around this group of people, and just everyone's so different, and everyone just plays their role so well. It really is the perfectly casted film. So just to start there, there's so much to love, and there's so many people in this movie. so many huge stars that all kind of work so well together.
I feel like this is also just such like, you can tell that Peter Jackson loves the books.
Right.
Like, this is one of those that's like, I mean, you have someone in J.R.R. Tolkien that's just like an iconic writer. I think the best, fantasy writer of all time, arguably.
Arguably, for sure. And if not, one of the greatest influences at the very least.
I mean, this guy inspired whole games based on his writing and his worlds. He inspired different, like, and he is so meticulous in his world building that it's just without, compromise, without competition. And I feel like Peter Jackson just like kind of nails it. Like,
he does a good job. I remember I only have one criticism about the whole movie, and that's Peter Jackson didn't include Tom Bombadil in the story. But the thing is, Peter Jackson went for like a really, a darker tone with this, and Tom Bombadil is kind of a lighthearted character. So he already does a good job of switching the tone by, they show the Shire, right? And how beautiful and comfortable it is, and how happy everyone is. And that shows you kind of what these people are fighting for the whole time. But once they leave the Shire, that tone shifts to like, okay.
Oh, yeah.
And to throw in Tom Bombadil, it would kind of throw off that shift. So I understand why he was excluded. Other than that, I don't really have a lot of notes on his interpretation of at least this film. It gets, once you get towards the third movie, he gets a little bit further away from the books and takes a little bit more creative freedoms. Fellowship's pretty, other than excluding Tom Bombadil, it's pretty right down the line.
Pretty on there.
Yeah, which you love to see.
For sure. And then the other thing that I think, it's just the technicals of this film. I mean, the practical, I mean, you have the practical side of it all. I think that's also pretty well-known fact about the whole, in-camera effects and the forced perspective that he uses.
Yeah, the forced perspective, and he does that good job of these practical sets and knowing when to use. I mean, so much of it's makeup, and so much of it is this atmosphere he creates from these sets. And
but even the visual effects look really solid.
Right. Yeah, like when they're in the mountain, when they're in the Mines of Moria.
Yeah.
Yeah, they look good. They hold up. I mean, this movie came out in 2001. I was like 11 when it came out, something like that, 10 or 11.
This movie just feels so timeless,
mm-hmm.
and yet like it looks so timeless, and it looks like it is a classic, but it also like none of this like ages like poorly.
No.
Well.
I mean, like the troll looks great. The the Balrog looks great. Sometimes when it first comes out, it looks fine, for the times. But then, as you get older, you're like, oh boy, I can't believe I used to think this looked real. This movie still looks real.
Yeah, like it is an absolute like. I don't know. I love this movie. I'm very afraid that this episode is gonna be just like us gushing over this film and have nothing else to say.
I don't have anything bad to say. So if you're here for me to talk bad about this movie, it's simply not going to happen. I'm just going to tell you about everything I love about it, and a lot of it is where he chose to shooting in New Zealand, and the sites that he chose. It makes Middle Earth feel real.
Yeah.
Like it feels like.
Well, you can visit Middle Earth.
Oh, I know. People
that.
do the journey. Yeah. They do the hike from the Shire to Mount Doom, and that it's so tangible. It's like it's this fantasy world, but it's like okay, a couple hundred centuries ago, maybe the Earth was like this. I don't know.
The interesting question that I have, and before we start going to the spoilers, is this idea of like. I feel this like I think this movie is truly amazing and truly tremendous, but it's also helped by the aura that this film and the culture around this film has created.
Oh yeah.
Like and it's very interesting to think about like do we think that the aura was intentional, or do we think the aura is the byproduct of the fact that it's just a tremendous film? Is it a mix of the two? I don't know. And it could be either.
I think a lot of it is because, the movie already had this like insanely loyal fan base to J.R.R. Tolkien, where it's like,
right,
you know, people our parents' age, everybody read Lord of the Rings. You know what I mean?
right,
And it's just, and anytime you're going to make a movie of an existing IP, especially when it's fans like that who are just fiercely loyal, you better come correct. You better
right,
do a good job, because if you don't, they are going to destroy you, and it could destroy the whole project. And so the fact that it's so good, and then you could get, I mean, you're never going to make everybody happy, but get, I would say,
right.
most of the fan base on board, then creates this aura. And it's like, it's not only a cult classic, but it's also a blockbuster at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And so you get this, like,
yeah,
you get this insanely loyal fan base, and then you also have all these new viewers. Like when I watched it, I hadn't read the book at the time. I think I'd read The Hobbit maybe before it, or maybe I read The Hobbit right after it, but I hadn't read the books. And then I saw that movie, and I was just like, oh, it blew my mind. Blew my mind.
Speaking of The Hobbit, because I think The Hobbit has a very different reaction, right? Because I think,
Yeah,
and it's the
it
same
does
director,
indeed.
but
It does indeed.
it's not as strong of a trilogy. And you know, one day we can have you know, a conversation as to why that is specifically. I don't think that's kind of, you know, part of the scope of today, but I think that's what just makes this so much more special to me. Is just like,
Yeah,
you know, this is
this benefits from
yeah,
having more source material, because there
that's
are
true.
3 books, whereas the Hobbits, they took 1 book and made it 3 movies. So you're kind of really stretching thin the
Right.
source material, and you're kind of adding a lot of stuff, and that's gonna, like I said, turn this fiercely loyal fan base. You're gonna turn a lot of people off there,
But would we
because then
also
they're like,
maybe say that you know, the maybe the source material is just overall like more effective? You know what I mean?
I mean, that could also be argued. I love The Hobbit. I thought it was great. But it definitely has a different feel than these books. It's a little bit more happy-go-lucky, maybe, at times, at least in the beginning.
Like, because
Either way,
I would tell you it's like, you know, I could see it like as just everything coming down at the same time. I don't remember, like, Peter Jackson, one of those directors that like I don't have as much of a like knowledge of compared to others.
right.
But I don't know if he really did anything huge before this. I don't
I mean,
think so.
name another Peter Jackson movie. Like, it's, he's known for Lord of the Rings.
Right.
I don't even. I know I can't even think of another movie that he made at this time. I know if I pulled up a list, I'd be like, oh, of course. But other than the Lord of the Rings trilogy, what
Because
else
like
did he?
yeah, I mean the Lord of the Rings trilogy is like the first film on here that I'm like, oh, I remember this. Um, but like besides that, my gang, like
No,
I, you know, like he produced a bunch of stuff after this, and he
yeah, no,
directed a
it's
King Kong movie, but like
Oh no, not the bad one. Who is It's like Renee Zellweger, right? Or what's the woman's name?
Naomi Watts.
Naomi Watts. Thank you.
Yeah.
That one's not good, I don't think, is it? I saw that in theaters too. Funny enough,
I
that
mean,
was a long time ago. And
it did well, it did decent enough in the box office. So like, you know,
I think my
that's
dad took me to see it. I don't remember loving it. I actually like the MonsterVerse version better of the new King Kong. And I know that's probably controversial because people don't really love those movies, the new Godzillas
right.
and King Kongs. I freaking love them because I just don't take them too serious. And I
Sure.
think the effects are really, really good in those movies too, which is totally different than this Lord of the Rings, right? Because that's all heavy CGI. And Lord of the Rings, so much of it is real, so much of it is practical. Like the orcs, the makeup that they do on the orcs, it's like, I mean,
Yeah.
you can't replicate that, and it
Yeah.
just makes it feel real.
But yeah, I don't think there's really anything else that I can think about
No,
that
which is
Peter
good
Jackson
because it
really,
means
yeah.
this is really what he cares about. It's a passion project for him.
Yeah. But you know,
Uh,
he apparently he produced the animated, he was an EP on the animated Lord of the Rings story that I didn't particularly like, but that's
oh no,
okay.
not the new one, War of the Rohirrim.
Yeah. But he
I
was an
saw that in
executive
theaters.
producer, so he might have
Didn't
just
love
like,
it.
no, it wasn't.
wanted to love it. Went into it wanting to love it,
the
and
Lord of
left
the Rings
like, oh
trilogy
man.
is like the best, and then The Hobbit is like good.
So it has good moments, but then it also has moments where you're just like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, but like, I think especially because he, is so like it's like Lord of the Rings kind of made him, but also Lord of the Rings is the only thing that only thing.
Which, I mean, like I said, that's fine. What he did was he found the perfect person to do the score of this film.
Oh yeah.
Howard Shore. There's an argument to be made that this is the best score of all time.
Yeah.
I would make that argument. I don't think I would end up agreeing with it, but I could sit there and make the argument.
It's a fair one. I watched the movie yesterday, and I've had the like Shire theme in my head ever since. And
dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
It's so good. And just even that main theme, the dun, 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 like it's just
so good.
So good. It's so good. Oh God, I love it so much. And it fits the tone so well. And just like you said, you watch the movie and you can still hear it.
Yeah.
And it works so good. And there's like you said, like the Shire theme, that's so different than some of the music later in the movie. And that's back to like that tonal change that he did, where it's like, oh, look at how nice everything can be. We just have to defeat this and we can get back to this.
I'm down for some spoilers if you want to talk spoilers.
Oh, let it rip, baby. Let it rip.
All right.
We can really start getting into it.
So I have one thing that annoys me story-wise about this film, and it's only one thing.
Let's talk about it, baby.
Gandalf should have brought the ring to Mordor himself and would have ended this really quickly.
Maybe he didn't have a reason. You know why he didn't do that? Because he didn't even feel like he could hold on to the ring. And they do show this. I don't know if they show it or not, but they do explain that for a wizard to have it, he would have essentially turned into Sauron, almost. It's like he couldn't have the ring, because if he had the ring, there's the chance that the ring turns him, and then he's just as bad as what they're trying to destroy. So he had to give the ring to Frodo to bring there.
Or why not? He can teleport multiple people at once, I think, right? I don't think he can just teleport himself.
He doesn't use any teleportation in the films. What he could have done is hired the Eagles to pick up Sam and Frodo and fly them over there. But as you see in further movies, the Nazgul actually have flying beasts, those dread beasts that are like basically like dragons. So maybe they get shot down out of the air before they get there.
I'm just like, I feel that Gandalf kind of made it easy on himself.
Yeah, but the reason for it is Gandalf couldn't have the ring because he didn't trust himself with it.
So we trust the Hobbit because the Hobbit can't do anything
because they're
anyway?
so good, because they're so inherently good on the inside, and even if they do get turned, they're not so it wouldn't be the hardest.
They end up being Gollum.
Right, they're not going to end up being an evil dark wizard. They're going to end up living in a cave with the ring.
Yeah.
So it's
but it just feels like to me Gandalf is like la 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 la, like, gang. Where's the passion? Where's the energy? Where's the actual impending fear?
The passion, the energy. Trapped. You shall not pass.
Yeah, but
that's
then it's
passion. That's energy.
But then
that's sacrifice.
But why wasn't it anything before then? Why are we, why is Gandalf so, I wonder what's wrong with Bilbo?
Listen, Gandalf was the one who did the research, found out that it was the One Ring, and set this whole plan in motion and got the Fellowship together. So
I guess
he did what he could do. He didn't trust himself with the ring, and he felt the best way to destroy it was instead of just being overt and going straight to the mountain, was to be a little sneaky boy.
The sneaky boy.
A little sneaky boy.
Sneaky.
Yeah. How did you feel about the ring wraiths and like the horror element that they bring to this film?
The horror.
I remember being scared when I was a little kid watching this of those black ring wraiths, the ones that are chasing them around, the Nazgul.
Oh yeah, they're really terrifying.
I mean,
we see them at the beginning.
When I was a little kid.
I think they're more terrifying when he has the ring on. Like
when you can kind of see their faces.
Yeah, I think that's the more scary part about it.
I was scared the whole time.
I mean, you know, I think when you go through this film, and I think that speaks to like the tonal shift, right? It's like it does it so well of just like going from the scary element to the like happy elements.
Yeah.
You know, as we
move through Middle Earth.
Move through, yeah. Essentially.
All right, let's get down to brass tacks here. Who is your favorite character and why? It's tough. Nearly impossible, but you're going to have to make a decision.
It is nearly impossible. So here's the thing. It's like it's either, you know, it's either Sam or Aragon for me.
Okay. Sam, I mean, you can't go wrong with Sam. Not only is Sean Astin is amazing, but the character itself.
Mr. Frodo! Mr. Frodo!
So Mr. Frodo.
How much did you hear? Oh, not that much at all. Just a little bit of a ring and impending doom. Like, well, you heard everything. Okay, great.
All right, you're coming.
And Aragon, I think, like remembering the rest of the trilogy just really fascinates me as a character. And I think his acting is just so interesting and stoic.
Vigo?
Yeah.
Yeah, he does a good job of making just him seem human. I mean, he is human, but
I get what you mean.
Just, kind of grounding the character, I guess, and making him seem real. And it's this guy who doesn't want to, have the world know that he's the heir. And I don't know if that's because he's embarrassed of how his family, caused some of this problem by not destroying the ring, or he just doesn't want the responsibility. So he kind of goes into hiding as a ranger. And watching him throughout the films eventually accept his role. It's a nice character arc he has.
I think it's like a good, like, you have these two human characters in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Boromir, Aragon.
Boromir and Aragon, and the way that they act so differently makes it so fascinating in this film.
Yeah.
The way that they act. I mean, they're at each other's throats anyway from the start because one feels the other one's a traitor, essentially.
Boromir's dad has been watching Gondor all these years as basically the king, the interim king,
right?
Because the real king, Aragorn won't take the throne. So his dad has been, doing this other guy's job, basically. And he's like, "Who are you just to come here now to try to claim your throne when my family's been doing this?" Boromir is such an interesting character because he just shows how flawed humanity can be, but you still feel for him
because nothing that he does is like intrinsically like evil,
right?
It's as you said, it's flawed, and I think
that makes with good intentions,
right. And I think it does show like the corruption of man, but also I mean we have every single race kind of corrupted by the ring in this film, right? I mean you have the Elven Queen. Is that she's a queen? She god? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean she's it's Galadriel. She's one of like the three. So she was one of the three elves who got a ring. 3 elves got a ring. Yes. 7 dwarves, 9 men.
Right.
So she was one of the 3 Elrond, Galadriel. I forget the third elf's name. He's got the horn. He's actually in The Hobbit. She's one of the big 3. We'll call them the elves that have the rings.
But yeah, but
And
even
that's another
she,
thing.
you
That's
know,
why
yeah.
she doesn't want to hold the ring either, because she knows that she would go evil. That's when they have that scene. That's
Yeah.
one of the bonus scenes. They extend that scene with her and Frodo, where she kind of gets super crazy for a little bit.
Yeah.
And for the same reason why Gandalf didn't want the ring, that's why she doesn't want the ring, because she knows what she could become if she was given that power. And then that's why they have to leave it they leave it to the Hobbit.
No, is it interesting? It's interesting to me how like quickly, you know, Boromir kind of gets corrupted by the ring, even though he never touches it.
Yeah, they do say being in proximity of the ring it'll still affect you. It obviously affects the ring bearer more.
Yeah,
But they do
but
say even being
Boromir
in
is the one that it feels like besides Frodo, Boromir is the one that gets kind of affected by it the quickest.
Yeah, I think that's based on like him himself, right? And I think they're showing how easy it is to tempt man, and how easily men can be corrupted. Even these regal men, who believe in duty and honor, just how easily men can be corrupted, I think was the point that they were trying to make there.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's just and then I mean, and one of my other favorite scenes of this whole film, you know, going back is the conversation at the elves where they talk about what to do with this ring and who should hold it and what to do with it.
At
And
the Council of Elrond.
it's yeah, and it really does, like as you mentioned, this is a very much an ensemble piece. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that scene, as much as any scene, I think more than most other scenes, shows the ensemble prowess. It's like
Yeah.
no matter at what point, whenever you're on someone camera wise, that's the person captivating the room.
Yep.
And I think that is so hard to do, to not let anyone be overpowered. And it's
Right.
just like, no, it's just as soon as you're on screen, you're the one captivating the room.
Yeah, it's a
Point
true
blank.
ensemble cast in that where everybody is equally important and fills their role. And when the light's on them, the light's on them.
Yeah. But also that's also, you know, a big, you know, like kind of it also shows everyone that's not in front of camera in that moment can also just take that step back and also knows the balance of when to be just like how to be powerful enough to take the spotlight, but also be
Right.
like, you know, giving enough in those moments to be able to give the spotlight on very quickly and easily. And I think that's, you know, that's also a skill and a power than anything else, being able to kind of be ready to pass the baton at any moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. It really is, and it's like you almost have different favorite characters as the movie goes along. Like at some point, you're like, "Oh my god, Gandalf's the coolest," and then you're like, "Wait, never mind, Legolas is definitely the coolest," and then you're like, "Oh my god, Aragorn's the coolest." And any time that they can do that is just it's impressive because it moves fluidly throughout the film.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like, and it's just the seamlessness of this film. Just like it is seamless.
It
Never
is.
a
I
dull
mean,
moment. Yeah.
it's the extended version's like 4 hours, and it flies by pretty quick.
I think
As
flies by
far
pretty
as
quick.
quickly as a 4 hour movie can fly.
Yeah, I think I never got bored, but like I think you realize that as the sun is getting darker outside, that you
Well,
know,
that's as time flies, sure, but like
yeah, you know,
you're still engaged.
oh yeah, 100%. And I think talking about the extended version, like interestingly, I've never seen the theatrical cut, so I don't know what, you know, we were just talking about this before we started, right? What is in the extended cut versus the theatrical cut, but like I don't know what to cut out of this extended cut film.
You don't cut it. That's why I can only watch it anymore. You don't cut anything.
Cause like how long is the
The regular one
theatrical
probably
version? Yeah.
2 hours and 42 two and a half 2:45 maybe.
So
It's not 3 hours because the only one that got to 3 hours, I think the only theatrical 3 hour film was the last one, was Return of the King.
They added 30 minutes of material only. What makes it so long is they added more credits. They added what they call the fan club credits.
What were fan club credits?
I don't know. I'm guessing the fan club, the credits of the fan club of the Lord of the Rings. But that it basically told, and I remember finishing the film being like, there's still like 30 more minutes left. Oh, that's all credits. Okay.
Oh, that's crazy. I didn't even know that because, as you know, once the credits start rolling, I'm out of there.
How dare you? No
I
respect
know,
towards
I
the
know you
people
don't
that
like
make the
it.
films.
I know you don't like it. It
You
just
know,
is what
one
it's.
day I will
I
be in those
almost
credits, and then you won't see my name in the credits.
no. I'll stay. I'll stay for yours. I'll stay for yours. Last night I watched The Invite, and it was so good. But I saw, a 9:30 showing, so it was like 11:30 when I was leaving,
I
and
understand that. Yeah,
and it's just
that I
like
can respect.
But the credits start and I stand up and they start playing "Our House" by Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, and I was like, "Shit, I fucking love this song." Should I sit back down? And I was like, "No, I've already stood up. I've gone too far."
Yeah, I
But
mean, I get
I
it when
almost
it's
sat
too
down for
late
the
to watch
credits.
credits. It's
I
like
almost
when
sat
it's
down
like
for the
when
credits.
I've started a movie in movie theater like 10:30 at night, and I don't get out till like 1, and at that point you're
Right.
just like, I need to like catch a train and go home. Like it's another hour ride home for me. I'm not gonna do this right now. Like, I'm sorry, gang. Well, I think that's the exception more than the rule. But we're talking about 200 and so the original version with credits is 178 minutes. The extended version is 228 minutes. So that's an extra 50 minutes, so almost an extra hour, and half of that, about 30 minutes being of new material,
Okay.
and so like it's only a half an hour more material. We're still talking about an almost 3.5 hour long
Right.
film
It's three and a half
versus
hours, and then you get and then there's an extra half hour
yeah
of fan things.
of credits. Yeah, but I it just I don't know where you cut 30 minutes off of this film,
You
and
don't.
that wild to me that then there is a shorter version of it.
I think the thing was because the shorter version is still almost 3 hours,
Yeah,
and it's like it was the first. They didn't know it was gonna. I mean, they had a feeling it could be this mega hit, but they didn't know it was going to be what it was. So it's like you can't just make the first entry into this new series where you're trying to not only bring in the old fans, but bring in all these new fans. I don't know how I would have done as an 11-year-old watching a 3.5 hour movie.
yeah.
So I think they kind of had to, cut it back a little bit, which is still a lot of material to cover. But they had to be able to bring these new audiences too. And then as the movies went on, they just kept making them longer and longer. And then even I know Return of the King is at least 3.5 hours regular. The extended version is like 5 hours. It's fantastic. It's so good. You know what else is?
That's such a wild fact. That's like I don't think we're understanding how wild of a fact that is.
For a movie to
Like,
be so long and so popular, it's crazy.
yeah, because I just saw the statistic recently that like, fun fact, people want to see shorter and shorter films compared to last year. People want to see 4 minutes less of movies. Like
Yeah,
the average like want for a movie is 92 minutes last year. It was
I'm
now
one of the
88.
I'm one of those people.
I think the that is a little disingenuous because I think the issue that we have is not that we are creating more and more long films. It's that we're creating unnecessarily long films.
Right.
And I feel like
Where there is stuff you can cut.
yes, it's you know, the Brutalist I think is always a perfect example for me. I don't think there's much that you cut from that film.
No, that was fine. And not to mention, they give you an intermission, which
Yeah,
if you're
which
gonna
I
be
think
three,
is
if you're gonna be over 3 hours, you should have intermission so I can go to the bathroom, I can refresh my popcorn, and I can come back and enjoy the second half of the movie.
for sure. But
So I
yeah, I
think the
think
Brutalist handled it very well.
but I think the issue being, that we kind of see ourselves in like, oh, we want to see shorter and shorter films. I think we just want to see movies that are solid and not like overly long films, right? We want to
Yeah,
watch a
long. Don't
film
be
that's
long.
good and then
Yeah.
keep
An
going.
example of that this year is Lee Cronin's The Mummy that came out earlier this year. It's like 2 hours and 15 minutes or 2 hours and 20 minutes. And honestly, the first hour and 45 minutes, I was there for it. I was like, this is great. This is, it's a good, solid horror flick. And then all of a sudden you're watching the last 30 minutes of this movie and you're like, all right, let's wrap it up, because they had already kind of said what they needed to say. And I don't think they added a lot. The ending, I guess, was important, but by the time you get there, I was like, wrap it up. And it's just, it's hard to be a good movie for that long. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
So it's just like, you have to know when to end the film, or when being long is better in the case of The Brutalist,
Yeah. By the way, I looked this up.
What do we got?
Return of the King, the original film is 200 minutes, and they had 63 extra minutes to the film.
Yeah, so it's already 3 hours and 20 minutes.
And
standard.
Then
and then they add basically an hour on the end of it.
Yeah.
Which makes it 4 hours and 20 minutes. That's so awesome. God, I love it.
Yeah, there is. There is a fan club for this movie that people paid for.
Okay.
And that's like part of the end credits. I'm still like kind of caught up on that for some reason. It's kind of wild. Because you know what? We don't have that anymore in the culture, in society, I feel.
Right.
And I think that's so sad.
It is. It is indeed.
Like there is no like movie fan club for like movies anymore. Like I think the closest we got was like the Marvel like fandom, but that I don't think was that. It wasn't even like, like it was huge, but I feel like
but it wasn't even just like, that wasn't even just for movies, because that fandom, extended to comic books and TV and other things. So it was like, it wasn't even just like a movie fan club. Like you loved the movies, but then you also loved the rest of it as well.
Wild.
You know what I do love about this movie is, and I know we touched on it a little bit, is the practical effects. And like that scene, the gates of Argonath, when they're in the river, and then you see those two huge colossus, those people, the kings. They made like an 8-foot model, and like actually that was shot on a model. It's just like, that's the kind of stuff
I love when filmmakers do that.
It just makes it's just such a big difference than if you just CGI it or something like that. If you actually go through the time and the love and making the model and making these little figures to scale and shooting it, and then I don't even know how you blend it on the back end. That's more of a you thing, but it's just so impressive that they do that throughout the film. It's just the actual models that they made to shoot it.
I mean, and we're still talking film here. We're not talking digital. Like doing this digitally would have been easier, but like blending this on a like there's a way of doing it, no questions asked, but like just doing it on film is a whole different game plan, and it's kind of just wild to me that you're able to do that. It's impressive. All of it's just so impressive, and then you come in and it's just like, and it just feels so natural. The whole film, as we said, the film just feels so natural.
It feels real. It feels real, which in a fantasy setting is tough to do. We're talking about trolls, and we're talking about elves, and we're talking about friggin' orcs, and to make it feel like, okay, I might be able to run across one of these guys in the woods somewhere. Like after this movie came out, every time I was in the woods, you're running down. I'm imagining I'm on that scene where we're running from the orcs right before the Fellowship gets split up, and right before Boromir gets turned into a pincushion. I still sometimes, when I'm on a hike, that music, that dun, 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 music will play in my head, and I'll be like pretending I'm being chased by orcs. And I'm a 35-year-old man, and I saw this movie for the first time when I was 11. So it's just crazy that they can do that. Like the lasting power that it has.
I mean, this film for sure has that lasting power. I think, and I think it has lasting power because it's like and I think it does what many stories that break itself into multiple films does well, which films don't always do, which is I end the movie satisfied because you have multiple arcs that end
Right.
and you have
Right.
resolutions, right?
Yep.
Frodo finally accepts his position, right, in the world, and he's pretty hesitant through this whole entire film, but it finally feels like he's like, all right, this is my burden to bear. I'm ready to go for it.
Yeah.
You Boromir, who has, I think, the best arc, but also he dies. You have, you know,
And even
I
right
would say
before he
there's,
dies, he's like, he wants to apologize to Frodo. He's like, Frodo,
yeah,
I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what came over me.
he wants to apologize to everyone. I feel like, and he doesn't have that like a verbal apology, but with Aragorn, I feel like he also has that moment of like,
and so even right
we
before he
had,
dies, he sacrifices. He sacrifices himself to give the hobbits just a little bit more time to get away.
yeah,
Because he
but
knows he doesn't.
yeah,
He like you said, he wasn't evil. He didn't really have this like intense malice. He was trying to do what he thought was best for his people and for all of Middle Earth. And the ring makes people go crazy.
yeah, but I think he does it really well.
Gimli is kind of your comic relief character.
Yeah.
He's so good, and his relationship between Legolas. It starts in this film. It really picks up in the Two Towers, and then by the end, it's just their relationship, and they show, because they're complete opposites, right? Elves and dwarves. They're going to be the complete antithesis with humans kind of being in the middle. So for them to get along and just watching their relationship grow throughout the movies is some of the best stuff.
Yeah, I think it is so hard to and does it so well where, you have the film arcs, but you have the interfilm arcs and it all comes together, but nothing feels super unresolved. Like I don't come out of this movie going like, I come out of this movie going like, all right, well, how's the story going to continue? Not like there's a major cliffhanger. And I really like that.
You feel closure at the end of each film for sure. This one with the hobbits everyone kind of going their separate ways. You get that closure, like, okay, they're on to their own next journey. End of the Two Towers, you get that huge battle scene. And then, at Return of the King, you get the conclusion of the story. But it's right. It's not like they leave you on a cliffhanger. I loved the last Spider-Man movie, the animated one, but they leave you on a huge cliffhanger. So you don't get that satisfaction. You don't get you leave the theater needing more in more of like a junky way, not in like a, oh wow, that story was so great, I can't wait to see what happens to these characters type of way.
Right. And it's like that their mission isn't done yet, but you feel like the story that was being told here is good.
It was told.
And we can move on to the next story that's a part of this grander adventure. And I think that just does it so well.
Yeah, and absolutely nail it.
That's also a Tolkien kind of thing of how well Tolkien was able to kind of move it. It's also a Peter Jackson thing for how good he's able to kind of interweave everything and know what to keep and what not to keep. I think that's kind of the overarching thing for me is like this film is so I've never seen you rarely see the hero's journey be done on two different levels and be successful on both and still make you still come out of it going, this was a great time and I have nothing else to say. But yeah, I mean that's the I think I'd love to do more Lord of the Rings episodes with you over
I'm here for it. Anytime. You're always going to get my vote. But touching on what you just said, I think it's funny because this book, he was in World War II had a big effect on Tolkien.
Sure.
And is why, the book is a lot of the stuff in the book happens the way it happens. And he started writing this after World War II, right? So it was always meant to be one big story. All three books were one story because it is one story.
Right.
But post World War II, there's like a paper shortage, right? So he had to release it in, I think he released it in originally when it first came out was like 6 different volumes, just due to the fact that they only could get X amount of paper at a time. And I think that helps because it was released like that. I think that helps the movies where there's like clear, arcs and stopping points. And I think that helps. I think it ended up helping him back because his plan was always just this one huge epic story. But due to the restraints at the time, post-war, he ended up having to break it up and release them in smaller bits. And I think that's why you get these perfect little package bow stories that are all part of the bigger theme.
Yeah, but and I think that's such an interesting, like, this is the best way for us to have this where, it just feels like you're doing this properly. You're giving everyone in this process justice, and you're doing it properly. And, I think a lot of the time when we talk about like adaptations, I always come in with it, well, a book or a comic book or, whatever is never going to be the film. Right?
Yeah.
Things just will not translate well over. This is one of those rare few times where, especially for the whole entire trilogy, if once we move to the end of this trilogy, right? Because like Return to the King is like, maybe I don't know if it was the best Lord of the Rings film,
it's not my favorite, to put it that way.
But I think
it got the most Oscars. It's the most critically acclaimed.
Right. I think it's also, I think the main reason why I feel that one then becomes the accolades one, the one that gets the most critical, love, is more because it just shows like that he was able to execute on a high level for 3 different
to finish,
movies.
Stick the landing, which we see so much today doesn't happen. It's easy. Anyone can start off hot, but to stick the landing is the hard part.
Hello, Robot Jones. Finally able to join just as we are going to one of our favorite segments. We would love your thoughts though on the Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, and if we should continue with this series. I think we could do this through the end of the year. We'll do like one every 2 months or so. And
I'm here for it. I could talk Lord of the Rings all day.
I think
I just looked down. I can't believe we're already 45 minutes into the
episode. It's kind of insane.
I can't. That's crazy.
Especially
when it's only 2 people and you're just like flying through.
We're just flying off. Yeah, I mean,
we haven't even really touched on everything yet. Like I haven't even talked about how beautiful Rivendell is. I haven't even talked about how scary the Mines of Moria is. We didn't even get to talk about.
We should.
We didn't get to talk about Gandalf and Pippin.